All right. Good morning, everybody. And to everybody, a good morning. Another great day. God kept us through the night, watched over us while we were asleep. In the words of my grandmother, he kept the death angel away. For that, we're grateful. So, we talk a lot about relationships, people, unequally yoked. What does it mean to be equally yoked? That's what we're going to talk about this morning. Do me a favor, invite somebody, share. You don't want to miss this. I promise you. It's about to get gooder. Stay right here.
Coffee time, coffee time. Uh-huh. Yeah, this ain't your average cup of joe. Listen, I need it in the morning, I need it at night. He always keeps it brewing, he always keeps it tight. Just a little sip, it'll get you right. Terrence Pickett always be the one that gets the coffee right. The coffee's right, the coffee's right in my life. It's never a wrong time or a crime to get what's yours and to get what's mine. Come on. Coffee time in my life. Coffee time feels so right. I need a little sugar, put it in my cup. Can you stir it, Terrence? Let me know what's up. And at the end of the show, you can brew another pot. Just make sure you make it hot. Come on. Time in my life. Coffee time feels so right. I need a little sugar, put it in my cup. Can you stir it, Terrence? Let me know what's up. And at the end of the show, you can brew another pot. Just make sure you make it hot. Come on.
And good morning, everybody. Hopefully you have your, hold on. Hopefully you have your coffee and you're ready to go. I am. So I had a conversation on yesterday. My God, help us today. That's some good coffee. Let me say this. It is a blessing to be able to get up and grind your own coffee. Wow. Amazing. So I had a conversation. That's the best part of my morning, y'all. I'm telling y'all. Grinding that coffee, just listening to the grinder. And the next best part of my morning is when I smell the coffee brewing. Is everything, y'all. So on yesterday, I had a talk with one of my bros, and great conversation as always. And that's kind of where this conversation is this morning is coming from. There's a scripture in the Bible that says, don't be unequally yoked with the unbeliever, right? We talk about relationships a lot. And one of the things that I think, oh, you know what? Pardon my rudeness. Good morning, everybody. Deidre Katrina Harrell, baby girl, had a birthday the other day. Jade, singing star. Good morning to you, Tina White McPherson, Andre Hudnall, Star Wright, Michelle Byers, John Quill Hudnall. Andre Hudnall, are you and John Quill, are you guys related? Fred Howard, Sharon Kirkland Vaughn, good morning. Pickett, what brand of coffee do you drink? Well, I'm glad you asked. This morning, I'm having it's an African coffee this morning. It's organic. I drink several different brands. I get coffee from all over the nation, all over the world. So if it's good, I do the whole bean. I don't want you to grind it for me. I'll grind it myself. If it's good, I want it. Okay, so y'all are cousins. Wow. Okay. What does distant cousin mean? I grew up hearing that, distant cousins. We cousins from a distance. We're distant cousins. How far is the distance? You can tell Andre old. That boy say we distant. We're distant cousins. John Quill, okay, y'all are cousins. All right. So I had a conversation with one of the bros on yesterday, and one of the things that we talked about is being equally yoked. That basically means you got to hang out with people. I clarified who we are. Third cousins. Oh, okay. All right. Third cousins. Distant cousins. So if you got distant cousins, then you can have close cousins. What is the proximity of distance that makes you distant? When do you start being distant? Is it after second cousins? Is that distance? Okay. I'm bothering y'all. It's all right. You got to hang around. You really have to hang around. You have to hang around your kind. You have to be around your kind. But you also have to be around people who can lift your aura of thinking, challenge your mentality, and help expand your capacity. Life can be very frustrating when you're the sharpest pencil in the drawer. It can be very frustrating. It can also be extremely irritating when you're entertaining people who are not on your level. Now, one of the things that society has done, they have worked in overtime to try and make us all equal, but unequal. Nobody wants to be offended. This is a hypersensitive generation where anything that you say, people getting their feelings about. They couldn't have lived in the 70s and 80s and before. If you were born in the 90s, you're missing something. To know is an ability that God gives us all. He gives us all the ability to know. To understand will be determined, your level of understanding is determined on how well you know. So the more you learn, the more you know, the more you understand. And there are people who are gifted to know. Then there are people who they know because they've learned. Now, and I'm not struggling with this. I promise you, I'm not struggling with it. I'm taking these long pauses because I really want you to hear what I'm saying. So the more you learn, you expand your capacity of thought. I start to name this morning thought capacity. There are some people that you will meet in life, whether it's your job, whether it's a love interest, an attraction, and they do not have the capacity to know on the same level that you know, and it becomes trivial to try and break down what you're saying, and it's almost like I need help. I need a translator. Because it's one thing to know, it's something completely different to be able to communicate what you know. A lot of people know what they're saying. They do. They're fully, hey, I know what I'm saying. I know what I'm trying to get across. I know what I'm expressing. But I need help in communicating what I'm trying to say to certain crowds. A lot of people become irritated and frustrated and agitated because they can't necessarily communicate on the same level that they know. So knowing is one thing, communicating is a skill. It's a skill. It's an art. To be a great communicator where everybody can understand you, you're breaking it down, and you're not leaving anybody behind, that's a gift. That's a gift. Everybody doesn't have that. If you look at some of these artists, music artists, look at some of these sports stars when they get on TV and the microphone is in front of their face, they are communicating. But it's very challenging to understand what they're trying to communicate, primarily because they're not putting words in the right place. There's no clarity. I'm amazed at the gift or the penmanship of a lot of singers, rappers. They will write you in a coma. The stuff that they write is brilliant. But when you put a microphone in front of their face, they can't articulate the way they can write. Because their skill or their gift is in writing. They haven't been trained to communicate. So that's why on the award shows, we hear stuff like, all right, shout out to the homie. You know what it is. They have rearranged the entire English language. They don't understand subject and verb agreement. They will split a verb in a minute. And a lot of this is because they've not been through the process of understanding and communicating. When I was in school, we had a spelling test every Friday. Well, during the week, we'd have a spelling test review. We learn these new words. We go over how to spell them. Then we went over how to use them in a sentence. It's not just knowing the answer. It's also being able to give the process. So there are a lot of people, they're in relationships where they're unequally yoked because of the level of understanding and their inability to be able to communicate effectively. We were taught to expand by learning new words. I still do to this day. You know, I've gotten to a place where, thank God, I don't have to try and impress anybody with my vocabulary, but if I needed to, I could. Because it's about learning. The more you learn, say it again, the more you learn, the more your capacity of understanding expands, And the more your understanding expands, the more you're able to retain and remember. But you still have to work on articulation. You got to work on what's being said and how you're saying it. John Quill asked a question. She says, do you believe or think effective communication can be taught, learned? Yes, I do. Now, like everything, there's an exception to the rule. If people are born with a learning disability, then I'm not talking about them. There are some people that stutter. I'm not talking about them. I don't know if you all remember Ron Harper of the Chicago Bulls. You know, people have speech impediments. There are disabilities that they have that alters their way of communication, how they communicate. Ron Harper of the Chicago Bulls, he played for the Cleveland Cavaliers, then he got traded to the Chicago Bulls. Excellent basketball player. Listen, defensively, he was one of the best to ever do it. You don't hear a lot of people talking about it, but the boy's bad. But when they would put that microphone in front of their face, when they would put the microphone in front of his face, I was appalled. And this is, now I'm younger, and we won, and it was troubling. Like, what in the world, boy? Say it. Well, that's a speech impediment. That is something that he could not control, or maybe he hadn't gone through the process to control it. Some of this stuff can be controlled, some of it cannot. But effective communication can be taught, and it can be learned. Now watch this now. Look where I'm going. So it's one thing to know the truth. It's one thing to have knowledge. It's something completely different to be able to communicate what you know effectively, where the recipient can understand exactly what you're saying. Those are two different skills. Now watch. It's imperative that we find people that we're on the same level with to be able to have effective conversations. You know, one of the things that they say in a relationship that is most important, this is what I've heard, communication is the most important thing in a relationship. Well, yeah, well, no, not communication by itself. It's not just communicating, but it's also understanding, because we communicate all the time. The problem is there are gaps in our understanding. From what you're communicating and from what I'm hearing, either I'm hearing wrong or you're saying it wrong. And a lot of times the way a person feels and how a person communicates is altered when they feel inferior, when they feel intimidated, when their insecurity arises. So it becomes extremely challenging to understand exactly what they're saying. Tabrisa Bryant, good morning. Thanks for always sharing the link. Sunshine 1113, good morning. Happy Thursday to you. Stephanie Henry Johnson, good morning. Vanessa Robertson, good morning. Tina, good morning. Nikki Mitchell, I'm sorry that I missed all of you. Good morning. Gerald Bazell Jr., good morning. So, when it comes to being equally yoked, we have to start with how you understand. We have to have mutual understanding if we're going to be equally yoked. If one person is articulate. They communicate very well. Michelle, good morning. But the other person doesn't catch what they're saying. That's going to present a long-term problem. Daryl Latasha Seymour. So Tasha went and got married. Now I guess she changed her first name and her last name to her boo. Her. You sent me a friend request, and I didn't know who you were. Seymour, who is that? But congratulations on your nuptials. So then you can have a person who understands clearly, but the person that's communicating is ineffective in their communication. If you're going to link up with somebody like that, you're going to have a whole lot of patience, because you're going to have to teach them how to hear, and then you're going to have to teach them how to communicate. Now, what happens when you get a certain age? Come on, y'all, tell the truth. When you get a certain age, you don't want nobody you got to teach. They need to come equipped. Being 29 years old, I'm at a place in my life where this is not a school. We're going to link up and we're going to be together. We've got to be on the same level. Now, both of us are still learning. We are students in life. That needs to be understood. Let me tell you why people don't understand. And let me tell you why people have a hard time communicating. It's real simple. The people that don't understand, they don't understand because the process of their understanding is generally limited to the environment that they've been in. They've not been out and abroad. They've not traveled. They've not been outside of their circle. So they communicate extremely well to the little circle that they hang with. Take them outside of that circle. And it's the same thing with the person that communicates as well as the person that hears. The hearer is limited in their understanding. The communicator is limited in communicating because they've not been abroad. They've not gotten out of their circle. They've not had the opportunity to be exposed. Michelle, here I am thinking you were 40 something. Look at God. Girl, yeah, I'm a young buck, Michelle. Yeah. Where you get that 40 stuff from? So now you link up with someone, whether it's a friend, boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife, and you fight all the time because there's a missing link in understanding. I've dealt with people who, my God, y'all, it's almost like I need to call somebody to help me with this, because it's obvious based on your response to me, you're not hearing what I'm saying. And that for me is probably the most annoying thing that could ever happen, where I am communicating. I am telling you how I feel. A lot of times people get in their feelings and their emotional state, close the door to their hearing. Andre says, I wish I would have known this years ago. It would have saved me a lot of hardship that ended up in divorce. It's one of the biggest challenges in marriage. Effective communication and effective understanding. Now, so we have to work on our communication skills, and it's real simple. Let me tell you, you need to listen to other people talk and understand what they're saying. Recite them. You can practice to get this. You're not done because you've reached a certain age. Your mind can still absorb and you can still learn. Let me tell you, I used to speak with there's this undertone. It comes out sometimes, And it's environmental. How I was raised, where I was raised, who I was around. My people are from Quincy, Florida. We're from the country. So everybody in my family, my mom's side, we're loud. Now there's a such thing as being loud. There's a such thing as being obnoxious. I don't ever remember it was rare coming up that my mom used her inside voice, even when she was kidding, playing, even when she was loving on us. She didn't use her inside voice. So when a person is speaking at a certain volume and you're communicating back, you inadvertently try and speak at the level where they are speaking because your voice rises based on your hearing, and it happens automatically. It does. When you turn music on, your voice automatically rises because we have to hear ourselves talk. One of the reasons deaf people or hard of hearing people, their communication or the way they verbalize their words, it's they can't hear themselves. So they can't hear the sound that is coming out, so they can't clean up what may be missing. And it's the same thing with us. We meet each other, generally speaking, at the level, tone, or volume that we're speaking to others with. And what happens, our soul records our tone, how we speak. So we're going to a quiet place and we're operating on the same level because it's what we're accustomed to doing. And that can be annoying. We're at the opera, sir. Lower your voice. We're in the movie theater. Lower your voice. You whisper like a truck driver. Well, that stuff becomes annoying, especially when you're doing life with someone because you're not equally yoked. Now, so you have communication, you have understanding, then you have truth. Being equally yoked with someone, you need to know the level of truth that they have. Everyone operates out of what I call a belly of truth. All right. I say belly because this is one of the conversations that I have with Train all the time, and I call it belly. I kind of named it after him. He has the boy's never drunk alcohol in his life, and he has a beer belly. Thank you. Thank you. But your belly of truth, there is a well that we operate from. There's a well of understanding that we communicate from. That same well of understanding that we communicate from, we also hear through that same well. A lot of people cannot embrace truth because their well is contaminated. In order to hear truth, you have to live in truth. What y'all listen to me. Listen, this is really, really important. Hear me out. In order to hear truth, you have to live in truth. If you're living in a place of deception where you're trying to deceive others, you're putting on, you train your soul to lie, and the more you lie, the more you detach yourself from truth. So when truth is being spoken, you can't identify it because your soul is not accustomed to being in it. It's the same thing with knowledge and understanding. The reason everybody doesn't have wisdom, everybody doesn't operate in good knowledge. When you operate in knowledge and truth, the wisdom that comes through knowledge and truth will meet you on a different level of understanding. Everybody is not wise, but wisdom is available for everybody. And based on how you position yourself in life and what's important to you, that's going to determine the level of wisdom you have. It's going to determine the level of understanding you have. And it will ultimately control how effective you are at communicating. You can have two wise people. Let me tell you something about wisdom. Wisdom does not argue, it complements. You never hear two wise people arguing. Misunderstanding causes arguments. Pride causes arguments. Most people communicate to be heard instead of to understand. One of the things that I practice is that when I'm communicating with people, I generally regurgitate what they say. So if I'm understanding you correctly, you're saying blase, blase, blase. Now I throw it back on them to make sure that what I'm understanding correctly. Here's why. It sharpens my level of understanding to be able to process on a broader scale. Your ability to understand and have wisdom has everything to do with the level of operation that is in the well of your soul. Your soul is the processor. How you think, how you choose, how you feel is done in the soul. Your inability to be able to hear truth speaks of a number of things. When a person speaks in truth and you can't understand that truth, it's generally because maybe you've not been exposed to that level of knowledge or understanding. That's one. Ignorance is not a dirty word. To be ignorant means to lack the knowledge of. All of us are ignorant when it comes to something. So when truth is being delivered and we cannot understand it, it's generally because we lack the understanding, because we've not been exposed to this level of truth, or we've been operating at a level of deceit for so long, we tricked our own soul and we've been detached from truth. And whenever you're detached from truth, when truth comes, you won't be able to recognize it. So this happens in relationships all the time. Listen to this. Listen. When people are communicating, you can tell what they've gone through by what they say. Flora Louise, Lewis, Frol, Lewis, Miss Lewis. Good morning, love. You can tell by a person's response on what they've digested and the level of truth that they're operating in by their response. Now, listen to this. This happens a lot of times when we're communicating to each other. When we're talking about, let's say we're talking about coffee, and I'm like, you know coffee comes from beans. Yeah. I know coffee comes from beans. You're insulted. Here's why you're insulted. You're insulted because you worked in environments, you've been in environments where your truth was not embraced. So you're constantly trying to prove you know what you know. So in communicating, you're more defensive than you are offensive. Because if a person is talking, coffee comes from beans. Yeah, I know coffee comes from beans. Well, that's not the point that they're making. You don't even know the point that they're trying to making because you're operating from a defensive place. Your guard is up. You can't even hear them out to the end of their sentence to see what point they're trying to make. You jump in before they're done to defend, And you're doing that and you don't even know it because your soul is in control. Your soul is how you think, how you feel, how you process, and how you choose. And because you're used to being on guard, your approach is defensive. Let me tell you something. Wisdom comes in little small things. Let me tell you how you can gain wisdom. Before you comment, train yourself to hear the person out. Most times we're so anxious to be heard that we miss what's being said. Person's communicating, coffee with yeah. But one of the things you need to know, and you say something off the wall, hey, that's not even the point that I was trying to make. That's not where I was going. That's not what I was saying. But in your mind, you're trigger happy. You know what you want to say. You got to get out what you need to say. And you've not learned the discipline of waiting. And when you don't learn the discipline of waiting, you discount wisdom. So you can't gain. Wisdom is gained through patience. People that cut you off while you're communicating. It's like, oh my God, what? There are people, I've listened to them talk for 30 minutes. I'm engaged in the conversation. I ask questions as I go along. But they're so in a hurry to speak what they're saying, it's no longer communication. No, we're not communicating anymore. You're giving a dissertation. That's what you're doing. It's not a dialogue. It's a monologue. It's just you. Wisdom omitted is chaos committed. Wisdom violated is chaos created. And a lot of times, God is trying to expand our capacity of wisdom, and he does it through discipline. But when you don't have the discipline for the wisdom, you miss the wisdom because you have no discipline, and you end up running in circles of your own understanding. You can gain wisdom. It's the Father's delight to give you wisdom. But here's how it comes. There's a sensitivity that you need to have by listening and understanding. There's a sensitivity that you need to have when you're communicating. More often than not, I generally communicate to the level of the person that I'm communicating to. I had someone to tell me, I had a meeting, business meeting, and we're in the business meeting, and I'm going over XYZ for the business, what they need, how effective we're going to be in terms of marketing. I don't know if you all are familiar with geofencing. Geofencing is you look for red bottom shoes on Amazon. Then you go to Facebook and you see them red bottom shoes that you saw on Amazon. It's them followed you to Facebook. That's geofencing. So I'm explaining the process of digital marketing. It's a science to it. And I'm explaining this process and I'm breaking it down to them. And they were like, wow. I'm making jokes because that's a part of my personality. I like to laugh. At the end of the meeting, I say, hey, do you have any questions? No. Are you sure? Yes. Okay. Do you understand everything? Yes. Then she says, can I say something to you? Of course you can. She said, I watch you on Coffee Time. She said, and you're nothing in person like I thought you would be based on Coffee Time. Now, I had the opportunity to be offended. I had the opportunity. Yeah, I did. Exactly what do you mean, dear? She says, I thought you were going to come and I wasn't. I'm telling you what she said. She said, I thought I was going to have to pull out a thesaurus or a dictionary to be able to keep up with what you're saying. She said, but you're very laid back, down to earth. She said, you're a clown for real. Listen to this. Listen. People that speak above where you are and they use a lot of swelling words, they're not really interested in communicating to you. They're more interested in sharing what they've learned. There's a level of narcissism in that. There's a level of arrogance. Now y'all got to wait 1 second. I don't want this battery to die. Give me 1 second. Don't you go nowhere. All right. Matter of fact, I'm getting ready for this. We have rehearsal Monday for the Mother's Day concert. So I'm going to play a little music. It's only going to take me 30 seconds. This is the song that I recorded.
I've had troubles, disappointments. Friends have come and friends have gone, but you were always there for me. In my weakness, Lord, you were strong. I lost my brother.
All right. Thank you for your patience. You're a great audience. So wisdom, God is always trying to give us wisdom. But you got to understand that wisdom and discipline works together. To the degree of wisdom you have testifies of the degree of discipline. Undisciplined people aren't wise. Now, they may have a lot of knowledge. Let me give you the difference between wisdom and knowledge. Knowledge is accumulated thoughts. Okay, those are the things that you've learned. Those are the advice that you've been given through the years. It's information that you've stored. That's knowledge. Wisdom is how to distribute knowledge, how much to give, how much to keep back, when to communicate, when. That's wisdom. Wisdom teaches you how to apply it. Wisdom teaches you how to apply what you know. But as it relates to understanding and knowledge, that is what you've learned. Wisdom is how you give it. All right, let me read some of the comments here. That's good. I experienced this a lot with a close connection. She never, I think that should be no, anyone to complete. She never allows anyone to complete a sentence and miss the entire point being made. Now watch this. Watch this. I can read a sentence, and based on the way the sentence flow, I can almost tell you what word it should be. Now, John Quill, she typed, I know she meant allow, right? It's obvious she meant allow, but the word is low. Let me tell you what knowledge would do. Knowledge will point out the mistakes and show you what you didn't do. Wisdom covers the mistake and keeps going and understand that it was a mistake. Wisdom doesn't have to be heard. Wisdom doesn't have to be seen. And wisdom doesn't always have to be right. Wisdom is not interested in exposing you, but covering you. But knowledge, it expose you every time. So people that are high in knowledge, even the Bible says this. It says knowledge puffs up. There's a level of arrogance that go with people who are on a certain level of who have a certain level of knowledge. The meekness, which is power under control. They don't exemplify that level of meekness because they know a lot. They've not gained wisdom. So you have to be careful at who you hook up with. And I'm going to tell you something. Even the people that don't talk are saying something. Gabriel, good to see you, my boy. Good to see you. Gabriel says a good teacher speaks to the audience on their level. Jesus was the best. Parabolic language. No one wants to listen to someone talking above where they are. So when we start talking about being equally yoked, you meet people where they are and you communicate accordingly. I'll never forget. No, I'll say this. I think it's in the end of Mark chapter 4, where the Bible says, when Jesus was with the multitudes, he spoke in parables. But when he had the disciples alone, he held nothing back. Wisdom teaches you how to distribute knowledge, how much to share, when to be quiet, when to hold back. You can't tell everybody everything. So when we're talking about being equally yoked, you need the person that you're going to link up with to have a level of understanding and be a student so they can keep learning, because none of us have arrived. None of us have made it. As it relates to marriage, man and a woman, marriage, or if you're a woman married to a woman or a man married to a man, whatever your taste is, I think, let me say, I want to say this about same-sex marriage real quick. We need to leave those people alone. God gives you a will to choose whoever you want to choose. And I don't care how saved you are, how much power you have. If you can't love people because they don't agree with you or they do something that you don't believe in, something's wrong with you and you're not exemplifying the love that you're supposed to represent. I think we need to leave them alone. So, oh, Terrence, are you saying same-sex marriage is okay? No, that's what you're hearing. I said leave them alone. We pick on them and we're supposed to love them. If two men want to love each other, we should be able to love them and respect their choice without excommunicating them, without treating them like the Lone Ranger. We got to love them. Two women want to love each other. That's their sexual preference. It's their choice. God gave them a will to choose. God did not take it from them because they chose outside of his choice. So who the heck are you? Are you bigger than God? Leave them folk alone. Now, as it relates to relationship, Ann Johnson is in the house. Y'all give Ann some love. Okay, good to see Ann. As it relates to relationships, there's a commitment level that you have to have in understanding each other. There's a commitment that you have to have in communicating to each other. What good is it me to know the entire dictionary, but I can't articulate on the level of your understanding? So truth, when a person embraces truth, truth teaches you all things, but you have to have an ear and be willing to learn. The reason most people do not understand is because somewhere in their path, they violated truth to such a degree that they can no longer recognize it because their souls are detached from it. Shantara Kirkwood is on this morning. Y'all give it up for Shantara. We call it Tara. Come on here. Showing up. Come on here talking about calm down. Good morning. And I believe that. Come on here trying to rebuke folk. Gabriel says, how can a pastor that starch in religion and traditions leave it alone? Just that they won't. They won't. They won't. So we were talking about being equally yoked. Equally yoked means there's equal understanding. Even if there's a gap of understanding, there's equal or shared understanding. Let me tell you the people that I believe you're supposed to marry. single folk. Married folk would agree with this too. When I say it, married folk are going to agree. You're supposed to marry somebody that you can get along with. It's the truth. Y'all didn't laugh, and if you did laugh, I didn't hear you, so I brought my own laugh box with me. You marry somebody you can get along with, somebody that understands you, somebody that is not seeking to put the blame on you, but accepts responsibility. I'm gonna give you a good trait. I'm gonna give you a good trait, a person. They're not trying to throw the blame. A good trait of a person is being able to accept responsibility, whether they're right or wrong, for the sake of peace. Listen, I will digress in a minute for the sake of peace. I will. Because peace is far more important than being right. When you link up with people that have to be right, they have to be right. Now, those people, I'm telling you, those people are absorbed with themselves and the level of arrogance that they're operating on. I'm telling you, it's going to be dysfunctional in the longevity of that relationship. A lot of times, if you're not careful, you can misunderstand a person's question or their reasoning and responses. Like me, for instance, when I talk, I explain everything. I do. Well, one of the reasons that is because, I explain everything. Let me tell you why. I'm used to teaching. Every job I've had, every job I've come in being the teacher. So a lot of times when I'm on one-on-one communication, I'm explaining, well, the reason I said that is X, Y, Z, X, Y, Z, X, Y, Z. It may sound as if I'm a know-it-all. It may sound that way. But you got to understand there's a wealth of knowledge that I've gained over the years. There's a wealth of understanding that I bring to the table. So a lot of times when I'm communicating, I'm looking at an entire bracket of things. And I'm not just limited to one column because of the wealth of knowledge. Well, let me tell you how I got that. I still study. I still read. I still learn, and I'm still a student. And I'm not going to apologize for what I've gained because you are a shallow thinker. Shallow thinkers are extremely critical of people who are well aware. I'm a student, and I'm still learning. Andrea Mitchell says, I'm telling you, y'all giving your age away. Show you right. Peace is far more better. Show you right. My uncle says that. John Quill Hudnall says, at Dewan, me too. I'm still learning. That's why I love watching Coffee Time. God be praised for that. So let me try and sum up everything that I've covered because I'm already over my time. At John Quill, yes, ma'am. I've been listening to TP since his old radio days. Thank you. Yeah, you've been rocking with me a long time, and I appreciate that. I'm appreciative of all of you, especially those of you on YouTube. Those of you on YouTube, the Lord's going to give you a special blessing. Before the day is out, I speak somebody's going to give you $1,000. Now, I hope that happens for real. For those of you on Facebook, I pray God give you 500 because you half of what? No, I'm just kidding. I'm just having fun. I'm just having fun. Okay. So we understand that communicating is an art. Understanding is a skill. Truth determines where communication and understanding belongs. When we operate in truth, truth helps assist us in understanding, and truth assists us in communicating. Now, I've been talking about truth, knowledge, understanding, and wisdom. It's for my church people. You're going to understand this. You're going to like this for my church people here. This is why Jesus refers to the Holy Spirit as the Spirit of truth living inside of you. Listen to this. When the Spirit of truth is in you, you'll be able to discern. You will know wisdom, and you'll be able to discern what's needed and when. The Spirit of truth moves you beyond book knowledge, and it teaches you application that you've never been taught. There are a lot of things that the Holy Spirit will yield or give you in certain situations if you have an ear to hear. But if your arrogance and your pride leads based on what you know, you won't know how to switch it up. So even though you have good information, you're going to have limited students because you're not operating out of truth. You're operating in pride to show people what you know. You're showboating with knowledge. That's all you are. You're a showboat with knowledge. But the Spirit of truth would tell you, hey, you don't have to say that. Say it this way. And it'll reach people where they are. They'll be able to relate to it, and it'll change what's in them. It'll change how they see. It will expand their capacity of understanding, and it will give them the things that they need to overcome the vicissitudes of life. And now I'm starting to feel that something just clicked. People don't know and don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. The Spirit of truth will teach you how to care for people based on where they're positioned in life. You'll be able to reach them based on your understanding towards them. There's a scripture in the Bible that says, follow peace with all men as much as it lies with you. Live peaceably with all men. When God started talking to the man about the woman, here's what he said. Deal with them according to knowledge, according to what you know. Now, I know certain things will set you off. And because I know there are hot buttons that I could hit that's going to cause you to act out of character, I'm going to use wisdom and stay away from those hot buttons. And I'm going to hang around where it's safe. And we're going to talk about what we need to do to help assist you with those hot buttons. You need people that will understand you, can relate to you, and you need people around you that you can get along with and challenge you to a higher level of excellence as it relates to thought. That's it. That's all I got. I can talk about this really all day, but I'm going to stop right there because I'm only supposed to do 30 minutes. I've done 58. So Monday. For all of my people that support Coffee Time, we are doing a live Mother's Day concert. Wait before you leave. I'm not going to ask for your money. I am going to ask that you support Coffee Time. We did not reach our goal, but I'm confident that we will. But to all of you that watch Coffee Time, you've been watching Coffee Time, you love Coffee Time. I don't know where you are, where you sit. We're doing a live recording. The building that we have, it seats about 600 people. And the reason we got this building is I wanted to invite the sponsors of Coffee Time to enjoy the live concert at no charge. So I'm inviting you out. If you watch Coffee Time, listen, it's not, when I say support, it's not just your money. If you showing up, okay, you give, you show up, you share it. I've got a reserved seat for you at the concert. If you want to come, wear your mask. CDC guidelines are in full effect. Wear your mask. All right. We rehearse Monday. We will be filming Tuesday. So it's this coming Tuesday. We're filming for the live recording that's going to be seen on Mother's Day. If you're interested in coming, you need to inbox me. We're going to get back to you, tell you exactly where the place is. This is a private event. We are not opening up to the public. I don't care if 5 people are there. I'm still not doing crowds and being closed up in buildings. I'm not doing that, y'all. I'm not doing it. But I've got to invite the only people that are invited is my Encounter family and my my Coffee Time family. You ain't in one of them. It's not open to you. You just have to see it on TV. So the recording again is Tuesday, this coming Tuesday. And if you would like to be a part of that, you would like to come, you would like to attend, you need to inbox me so I can give you details, because the details will not be on my page, because it's not something you and your family can come, but I'm not inviting other people. I promise you I'm not. We were going to do it in an empty audience like we did last year. But I wanted my sponsors, the people that rock with me, those of you, you're the reason this Coffee Time thing exists. This is kind of my gift back to you. So if you'd like to be a part of that, inbox me. Also, please, if you can, if you will, please, we got this concert coming up. We're a few $1,000s away from our goal. We're almost there. If you would give to sponsor Coffee Time, maybe you say, hey, Pickett, we want to pay the balance off of what you owe. I owe $6,000. It's a little less than that, but I just rounded up to the highest number. Owe $6,000. We have that. There's a 2-part. This is a 2-part recording. The first part is the live Mother's Day concert. The second part is a full CD. We're doing part A, but the budget covers both. All right. So give to sponsor Coffee Time. That's the Cash App that's on the screen. I appreciate you. I want you to know, without your ears, I don't have a voice. You make this possible. I'm glad God chose us to do life together. I'm serious about that. We are partners together in covenant with God to make things happen in the earth. And for that, I'm grateful for you. Remember, you were born to win, predestined to succeed. There's nothing that can happen to you today that the wisdom on the inside of you is not able to handle. You've got to calm down, slow down, use emotional intelligence, trust God. Be quiet, know when to speak, know when to listen, and let wisdom speak. When wisdom speak, we will always win. Don't forget to give to sponsor Coffee Time. And don't forget, if you would like to attend, you need to inbox me expeditiously, because we do have, I'm serious about this limited seating. I'm not letting a whole lot of people in here. All right. I appreciate you all. You go have a wonderful day. Be productive, and always remember to think higher. Speak live. Peace out.
Coffee time, coffee time. Yeah, this ain't your average cup of joe. Listen, I need it in the morning, I need it at night. He always keeps it brewing, he always keeps it tight. Just a little sip, it'll get you right. Terrence Pickett always be the one that gets the coffee right. The coffee's right, the coffee's right in my life. It's never a wrong time or a crime to get what's yours and to get what's mine. Come on. Coffee time in my life. Coffee time. Feels so right. I need a little sugar, put it in my cup. Can you stir it, Terrence? Let me know what's up. And at the end of the show, you can brew another pot. Just make sure you make it hot. Come on.